Hello, CK7 here, again with back to do commentary. Sorry if it's been a while, just last time I tried my hypercam, it wouldn't cooperate for some reason, so I'm hoping it'll work this time. Also, I know my past Heroes vs. Villains commentaries I did for the first 5 rounds was just me with just using my U-cam and all. This time I'm going to try and see if it will do it this way just by playing the video instead of showing my face. So, yeah, let's hope this works this time. So, let's try with Heroes vs. Villains round 6. If it will play, hopefully. Come on. Okay. So we start off with the Evil Queen recruiting Ursula and Morgana, and then having Captain Hook explain about Sinbad taking his treasure, which so happens to have a certain ruby sunstone, a very powerful stone that can help him unlock a villain known as Arthar. Yeah, I've decided for this series, besides using movies that we have been using for this series, but also include some new films that have never been used. Like, you already know that with Charlotte's Web, but also with this film. For those who don't know who Arthar is, he's the villain from Dinotopia Quest for the Ruby Sunstone, the movie, which is an animated film based off of the series of books, as well as the mini-series that History Buff explained about in his commentary. Which does remind me, it's very questionable, but a lot of you, I can tell, are excited for me to use live-action heroes and villains in the future. And it's very questionable, because I did research on the Dinotopia miniseries, and it turns out that apparently it was originally released on ABC Family and made by the same people that helped with The Wonderful World of Disney, I think. I don't know. I think they also kind of released on Disney Channel as well. So, it's kind of questionable, but if I were to use the Dinotopia live-action miniseries, would I use it on the Disney side? That way it would allow more Disney characters, even though it's technically not Disney, but we'll have to wait and see. Next we have, back at the RLS Legacy, where Captain Amelia explains to her crew about Zurg and his forces obtaining this stone, which that will be explained later in the next round. I will let y'all know that. And they aren't aware that Mulan is stowed away on the ship. I will say, as y'all can tell from the trailer I made for this story arc, this is pretty much going to be the biggest story arc for this series, at least for part 1. Next we have Tyler and Zurg up with the crystal. And then Dr. Schnechter, I don't know how you say his name.
This better work.
Works with the formula that, helps Tyler heal any wound that he gets. If y'all seen the movie, you know what the whole plot is.
I'm so glad.
Where Dr. Schnitzer's getting this formula, that will be saved till later. Then we get Simba, who was injured by Sharktooth, of course, and now Timon and Pumbaa decide they will watch over the Pride Lands while Simba recovers.
Guys, I'm counting on you. Danger could be lurking behind every rock.
Aha!
Next we cut back to Aladdin and Mickey's forces, where Moses explains to them about his past and all, how he accidentally killed someone for harming a slave. In this case, it's Saluk. Not much else to say here. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. And of course, y'all may have figured out that Moses' mission is to find Ramesses and see if he'll be okay and make sure he doesn't get hurt. Of course, this will make things very complicated since Ramesses has joined Frollo and, yeah, all that. And so we finally start our first fight. Timon and Pumbaa versus Ozzy and Strut.
Tango Charlie Alpha, what's your position?
Upright, head turned slightly to the left, tail erect.
Why do I bother?
Yeah, I decided for this series we could finally use the Land Before Time villains. Because in all the other series, especially in Disney vs. non-Disney villains, they have not used any of the other Land Before Time villains. And I'll be honest, despite what some people say about some of the Land Before Time sequels, I thought some of them were pretty good. Like, the second one that these two are from were pretty good.
Who are those guys?
Timon, Pumbaa. Great, now that we all know each other.
I will say though, Ozzy and Strut probably won't be showing up too much because of how little footage they have. And all that stuff. And Timon and Pumbaa send the two Struthio Minus down, rolling with the avalanche and all. And if y'all wondering if any other Land Before Time villains will be shown in the future, there will be. Next we have Danny versus Cruella de Vil. And I'm kind of proud of this fight, I will say. It was kind of difficult to figure out because, I'll be honest, as much as everyone loves Capstone Dancing, I'll be honest, I kind of like it too. It's a pretty fun movie to watch, but I'll be honest, it's going to be really hard to incorporate in this tournament. Because Danny and his friends don't really have a lot of fight footage. They don't have any fight footage, I don't think. Because the movie is just, the whole idea is just for Danny, you know, he wants to become a star and all that stuff. Alright, next, Lauren and Darkwolf versus the Sheriff of Nottingham. And I'll be honest, this is probably my less favorite fight in this round. Mainly because, Fire and Ice, I will have to agree with History Buff on a few things about the film. It definitely is probably the dullest of the films that Ralph Bakshi has made. And considering that he's the guy that directed Fritz the Cat and Wizard, some of the most drug-induced films ever, that's kind of saying a lot. Considering that he can make a film so bland. And Curdy comes to the rescue. And I'll be honest, The Princess and the Goblin, it's in my opinion. And Curdy, to me, is the only likable character in that film. Because he actually does stuff. Next we have Sinbad versus Ursula and Morgana. So Sinbad, of course, has the treasure along with the Ruby Sunstone. But then Ursula and Morgana bust onto the ship. I will say, one of the reasons why it took me a while to make round 6 was because this round was made during the time I had the occasional Bible school at my church. But also because I was watching the Little Mermaid TV series to find which episodes had Ursula's footage, as you can see here. This fight I'm pretty proud of, I will say.
Look out! Sinbad!
And Sinbad gets captured by the two. I can't remember what Ursula and Morgana are called. Like, I did look up what they're supposed to be, but I can't remember the name of them, for goodness sake. Next we go to the interlude, where the League of Mice travel off to find, you know, pretty much on their mission. Which, I'll be honest, some of these story arcs I'm kind of making up as I go along, kind of. But some of them I do have fully planned out. The Mice story arc I'm kind of making up as I go along, but I kind of have it planned out. I don't know, it's confusing. But, so yeah, they arrive to the tree where the Great Owl is, in hope for assistance of their journey and all. Of where Radican could be. And they soon run into the Great Owl. And I have to agree with everyone. I mean, what was with Don Bluth and scaring children with these creepy images in his films?
You see what I see?
And yeah, I decided for this series to have the Great Owl and the Grand Duke of Owls be brothers. Because seriously, I mean, don't they look a lot alike? I mean, I'm pretty darn sure that Don Bluth must use the same style for the Grand Duke of Owls from the Great Owl, because they do look very similar. So yeah, the owl tells him to watch out for his brother, and they continue their journey. Next we cut to the Animal Cruelty Squad headquarters. And I know everyone, especially history buffs, is confused, why is the Colonel here? Well, there's a reason he's here. So, yeah. He's not full on joining these guys, let me put it that way. So Alameda Slim explains to McLeach and the others about him forming the Sector C, which is where Patch of Heaven is, pretty much. That's why they're purchasing the farm.
Every last acre counts.
You know, as bad of the film Home on the Range is, okay, well, I don't hate the film. I mean, it had its moments. Alameda Slim, he can be comedic, but he can be pretty threatening at times. So then we cut to Frollo and Ramesses going to the Festival of Fools, and Quasimodo decides for some reason to follow them. We cut back to Ariel's faction, where they still feel so sorry for Littlefoot for losing his mother and being separated from his friends. You know, I have to agree with history buff. Ariel is definitely one of my other favorite Disney princesses, along with Jasmine and so many others. And, by the way, I still have not watched Once Upon a Time yet, but I'll be honest, I'm actually looking forward to see what they have in store for Ariel in that show. Anyway, so the Vultures arrive with Littlefoot's friends, as Littlefoot reunites with, well, his friends. Such a happy moment. A happy reunion. And Ariel says goodbye to Littlefoot, and she hopes that she will see him again in the future.
Dull without the little bloke, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I just had to include this sound bit, because, I mean, that's what the Vultures in the Jungle Book were pretty much famous for. And I thought it fit perfectly well.
So what we're gonna do? I don't know. Hey, now don't start that again!
Also, in case you're wondering, will we see the Vultures again in the future? Well, I do have something in mind for them in the future of Part 1. You'll just have to wait and see. As well as Ariel and Littlefoot meeting each other again. They will, later. So we cut to Buzz Lightyear and Jim Hawkins versus Tyler. So Buzz and Jim go into this club. Let me turn this down a little. As Mulan also follows in curiosity. But unfortunately, of all the villains Zurg's forces they had to run into, it had to be Tyler. Like I said, I really do not like Tyler, mainly because I just don't care for the film he's from. And Jim comes to rescue her after he sees Mulan being harassed by Tyler. And of course, this starts the rivalry between Jim and Tyler. Which, this is another, can't talk today. This will be another major part of the story arc as well.
When you kill someone, make sure he's dead.
Michael Ironside, why did you have to play in such a bad film? But then again, he did play in the original Total Recall and Free Willy, but those were better films than this. By the way, in case y'all didn't catch it, I did manage to match that piece of the music with Tyler's gunshots. I'm surprised History Buffs didn't catch that. Next we have the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen versus the Grand Duke of Owls, made by Ace Face. Yeah, like I said, the time I was making this round, I was busy with Vacation Bible School at my church, and I didn't have a whole lot of free time at that moment to work on some of the rounds. So I asked Ace if he would like to make a fight, and he said he would like to make this one, so I let him work on it. And I said he did a really good job. He really did.
Gentlemen, go down and invite our friends to dinner.
Yeah, as cheesy of a film Rocket-Doodle is, the Grand Duke Valky is actually... he's a pretty awesome villain. And Fidget is there, spying on them. And runs off. By the way, History Buff, if you are watching this, which I highly doubt you watch my commentaries, yeah, the thing about Dumbo being not defending himself from the owl, the thing is, you forgot, the Grand Duke of Owls, he can change size, so he can be larger than Dumbo if he wants to. And the Grand Duke was only the first of several enemies they'll have in the future of this series. Next we have Spirit vs. Alameda Slim, another fight that I am pretty proud of making. So Alameda Slim goes to capture Spirit for Sector C of the Animal Cruelty Squad and all. Yeah, despite this movie being a huge failure in the box office, I actually do like Spirit. I thought it was a great film. It is a very interesting take on, the whole, animals not talking, it's just monologuing and all. And, something I've noticed about some of the hand-drawn films that DreamWorks has done. Like I think... they did the whole thing where they have some effects being in CGI, like in Sinbad with the CGI monsters, and I think the train in Spirit was also in CGI, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was. So yeah, kind of interesting. And Spirit gets captured by Rico, one of Alameda Slim's allies, along with Clayton's men. Spirit. What will become of this wonderful stallion? That's the question. And finally we have the Festival of Fools. Originally this was going to be, okay, well it still kind of is Quasimodo vs. Ramses, but I decided to add in this bit, where Ratcliffe introduces Frollo to all these villainous characters, Puppetino, Professor Screw Eyes, Sarouche, Stromboli, Honest John, etc. Now, I will be honest, I do have something in mind for all these characters, but I'm definitely not trying to rip off Ace McKillerface's series. I definitely love his series, and I love his idea of ideas and all that stuff, so I'm definitely not trying to copy anything. I know I'm using the League of Mice and all, but as long as the story is different, I think that's okay. I'm glad you guys are liking it so far. I will say, though, the plot I have planned for Sarouche and Puppetino and all these guys, it might be a tad bit similar to what's going on in Disney Heroes vs. Villains, but let's just say there's a different cause for it. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure something out. And Quasimodo accidentally stumbles into the crowd. And Ramesses, who is disgusted by his appearance, has him whipped and tied up. Frollo's such a douche. And Gurgi notices and goes to get help. But who will he go to get? That's the question. Because here's the thing, I noticed... Okay, never mind, I'm not going to say anything. Now we go to the epilogue, where Ozzy and Struck survive their
I feel
avalanche
like
and are recruited by Shere
a
Khan.
mountain fell on me. It did. Is that you, Ozzy? Where are you? You're standing on me. I'm.
Interesting. A tiger recruiting a couple of Struthia miners. Interesting idea.
Well, they'll pay. And dearly.
We cut back to Patch of Heaven, where Napoleon and Ratigan meet up, along with other animals. We got Warren T. Rat, Jenner, the Mouse King, Carface, the Grand Duke of Owls, and the big bad himself, good old Cat Arwal.
My part.
Meanwhile, cut back to Avatar's group, where Merlin introduces Gandalf and Frodo. Yes, we're getting Lord of the Rings, people. Meanwhile, Ralph, Snitter, Tom, and Jerry meet up with Thomas O'Malley, Francis, and Bluebeard. Not much to say here at the moment. Meanwhile, Sykes informs McLeach about an interesting discovery. It's time to go hunting for these poachers. And now that the Queen has the Ruby Sunstone, she unlocks Ogthar from the sarcophagus. So yeah, that's Heroes vs. Villains Round 6. I'm sorry if this commentary wasn't that good. It's been a very long time since I did my last commentary, so it might be a bit iffy. But I seriously hope this works. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be pissed. So, yeah. And as y'all know, I'm getting close to finishing Round 7. Hopefully it will be finished soon. The thing is, I'll be starting school again in a couple weeks. The odds are I'll only have one class. It's a biology class, but I have to try my hardest to pass this class. And there's a chance I might be getting another job. I already work at an animal clinic right now, but the odds are I'll be getting another job at Kroger, so that means less time to work on this stuff. So, yeah, this is CK Primal 7. Have a nice day.